Hey, Kingdom Dream Chasers. I have some exciting news. We have gone over, we've hit a goal. We have gone over a benchmark. We've gone over a threshold, and that is 13,000 downloads for the podcast. Isn't that fun? So I just really want to take a moment to thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning in. And just helping get the message out there that God wants to partner with you in your business. And when you do that, you get clarity, you get wisdom, and you the joy starts to return in your life and business again. Um, and I mean to say, I'm not saying that you don't have joy in your business, but a lot of times when I work with business women, we can really feel a heaviness, and that heaviness can permeate in our other areas of our life. It can start to permeate in things in our marriage, in our health, in our social relationships. And so when you can have that levity and joy back in your business, it spreads out into your life. Sometimes I know for me, sometimes I don't even realize that the joy is gone until it returns, and I realize how much I was missing it. So we're going to have a big conversation today about how do we start making choices um, in regards to social media specifically to start bringing joy back into our business, because I believe that it's no surprise to God that you were born and working a business in 2025. He knew, and he created you for such a time as this. And when we really peel back our thought process around social media, I know so many of us have angst because there's parts of it that we love and parts of it that we do not like at all. We could use some really big words there, but the truth is, we're choosing how we perceive this tool. Money is a tool, a shovel is a tool, and how we perceive the tools that God's given us. Guess what else is a tool? Time. God has given us the gift of time. He's given us the gift of money. He's given us the gift of a shovel. He's given us the gift of social media. Our perspective on those tools are completely contingent. How we perceive them is how we are going to they're going to come about in our life. So for example, if I perceive that the shovel is heavy, hard, and it's not going to help me dig the hole, and I'm the plant's just going to sit there and die in the basket because I can't deal with that shovel. I It's too hard, it's too heavy. Every time I try to lift it up or deal with it, and I try to dig the hole and it's just not big enough. And then okay, so you get where I'm going with this. But the truth is that shovel can do its job. We might need to be applying some pressure to it in a different way. And as a matter of fact, this conversation is really about we have to pivot our thoughts about social media if we expect it to bear fruit. I'm going to say that again. I think it's worthy of hearing again. If you're going to expect social media, desire social media to bear fruit in your business, but your perception of it is that it's heavy, it's hard, it's annoying, it sucks out away the time, all of these different things, we get a victim mindset to social media. Um, but yet I'm frustrated that it's not bearing fruit. Well, hold up, right? So this conversation is about making a firm commitment, asking you to do some really inner work and say, okay, what do I really believe about social media when it comes to God and my business? Because I believe that He gave it to us as a tool. And therefore, we have dominion over it, which means it is not going to control us unless we allow it to. It's not going to control my emotions, my thoughts. As a matter of fact, it doesn't even control you do know, right, that you can control what is in your feed, what's coming up, what you click on feed is by what you're currently watching, looking at. All right. So if you want your feed filled with inspiration, wisdom, and then your control over it. Now, when we talk about for such a time as this, I really want you to in 2025? And if the answer to that question, which is highly likely that the answer to that question for you is you definitely believe that, or you probably wouldn't be listening to this podcast. Wrestling with the very tool that he's given me in 2025 to be able to amplify my message, to have relationships with. Doesn't matter if it's a skincare, eye cream, a weight loss product, digestion product. It doesn't matter what it is. It offers hope and it offers results. The difference is how you communicate that story. So, what's currently going on, and I think we've got to massively shift away. I know we have to massively shift away with it from this if we want results. In the industry of direct sales and network marketing, for decades, I was taught to show up and talk about the product's value. That's all I had to do was talk about the product's value and I would get sales. Well, guess what? Welcome to 2025. That doesn't work anymore. All right. And I'm not even going to take the time because we could literally do an entire podcast on why that's true, that it's not working anymore. Let's just suffice it to say it's not working anymore. We know this, right? Because if you are trying to continually show up promoting the value of your product and you're hearing crickets and you're not getting engagement, you're not getting interested people, you're feeling very frustrated and you're like, what do I need to be doing differently? All right. So, the reason why, in just one simple sentence, the reason why we, as a collective, we, when we're online and we are looking at products potentially and looking to see if there's something that we're interested in, the we know that that product has right. You get it, and you're like, you open it up, and you're like, oh my gosh, that's not even what the picture okay, and they didn't do returns and all of that. So the truth is, when someone takes a product to market, they have done value. So what's happened is the collective marketplace has gotten smarter and they know that products have value. So just trying to promote the value of your product is going to sound like white noise. Okay. So that's not going to work. And you know it's yourself, your self-care with skincare products that you have. But story in a way that I was. This is what was happening in my life. This is how I woke up. This is how I dealt with this. This is how I dealt with that. And describing that pain in such a way that it's tangible. She can see it. She can absolutely see the picture that you're painting, the pain that you're painting. And as a matter of fact, she's going, that's me. How does she know? And then you describe the promise, how I got from here to there. I went from this to that. And now this is where it gets really interesting. You've got to be able to say, "Oh, and I transformed." No, she doesn't trust that. It doesn't resonate. You've got to say, "Now, when I wake up, I do this. And now when I make choices, I do this. And now I get to do this. And now this is happening because of this transformation. I'm showing up differently." That's the desired outcome that she wants. So not only can she see that pain that you worked at so passionately bringing to life, but now she also can see that new desired outcome that's out in the future. And she now trusts that you can help her get there. So it doesn't matter if you've got a weight loss product, if you've got a gut health product, a hormone balancing product, it doesn't matter what it is. They all bring hope, they all have value. It's now a matter of you being able to tell your story in a way that connects with women. They believe that the desired outcome that they have is something that you can help them achieve. When you start telling your story that way, a bunch of things happen. The first amazing thing that happens is, are you ready for it? The first amazing thing that happens is you start to feel at peace with social media. Why? Because all you're doing is showing up with your true, authentic story. You're not showing up trying to push a product anymore because you're like, doesn't work anyway. I'm going to show up as me and I'm going to show up with my story. And when you start showing up with your story, it doesn't matter who likes it, who doesn't like it, because you're now there for the woman who is going to be attracted to your story and she's going to come. You're going to grow your audience because you're showing up authentically. You're not annoyed anymore. You're at peace with social media because you realize it's now a tool that's helping you to amplify your story, amplify your message, expand your territory, and help people see a deeper level of real inherent value, not just product value, but how you're going to be able to actually walk with her and help her get that same transformation that you received. And not only that, you're passionate about helping her to do that. So bringing your personal story and casting that picture, I was standing at the kitchen sink and I could hear the water running. And the thoughts that were going through my mind was this, and my stomach started to turn and I started to feel right. So you're going to paint the picture in such a way that you're like, she's standing at the kitchen sink with you. She's feeling those feelings with you, right? And then you go into the details of your story, taking her from pain to promise. And like I said, it doesn't matter if you're going to help her with sleep, if you're going to help her with anxiety, if you're going to help her with weight loss, hormone balance, digestion, but choose one. All right. Because we don't want to be the proverbial snake oil salesman where my product can help you do anything and everything. Well, it might have a lot of benefits, but don't enter into the white noise. Have a specific story about you and what you've experienced and why it's now awakened you to be passionately wanting to help others. You're there to bring hope and you're there to bring transformation. And you know your product can help do that in combination with you because they're not just interested in the product. And here's proof. How many of you have a closet full of products that are either still sealed with expired expiration dates on it, or they're half used and the expiration date has long come and gone, or they've gotten so clumpy and gross you can't even get it out of the bottle anymore because it's old, and now you're just buying new stuff. You might have half a serum in a bottle, but you're buying a new serum. You might have a half an exfoliator in a bottle, but you're buying a new exfoliator, right? We don't tend to steward well, and I'm generalizing, but we don't tend to steward well all of our purchases, all right? So she's going to be a little jaded just talking about product value. She wants to know that you're going to walk with her. You have a very specific desired outcome and you're going to be able to help her get that outcome. And you've gotten that outcome and you want to walk with her. So it brings peace. Now, let's bring full circle back around. All right. We said for such a time of this, God has brought you into 2025, into the online marketplace. All right. So, my challenge for you is to make peace with it. Now, the question I want to leave you with is social media for you or is it against you? Do you have social media in your life as a businesswoman so that it can be a tool for you, or is it something that's working against you? Because if you waver even the tiniest bit on that, then that's going to affect the fruit of the outcome. All right. You're not going to want to show up consistently if you're struggling with that social media. If your feed is not filled with things that you want to see, if you are constantly feeling offended or annoyed by what you're seeing there, you got to, it's just the Lord saying, okay, I'm just showing you, you got some inner work to do. Get the inner work done and then come back and use this tool that I've given you because that's all it is a tool. You can 100% control your time and your use of Facebook. I'm going to give you a couple little tips. All right, as we're wrapping up. The first tip is if you're a scroller, all right, we probably all either have, all either can say, I am a scroller, or I have been a scroller, or there's times when I can tend to be a scroller. What do I mean by a scroller? It means that you've literally eaten up large quantities of time, okay, in any given day by just scrolling. You got on for some purpose, but you got sucked into something and then away you went. Okay. So if you, I'll say it this way, when you have a scrolling issue going on, all right, I'm going to challenge you to pick a time of day. For me, it's usually like 4 or 5 o'clock. I will not scroll until 5 o'clock. And the reason why, so that when I am on social media during the day, I'm there for purpose. I'm there to engage, I'm there to post, I'm there to fill my feed, I'm there to take some metrics. I'm there for purpose. Now, it doesn't mean that I might not get tempted and I have to bring my train of thought back. But what's so great about this tip is, oh, I will get to scroll later, right? Because there is something, I don't know that it actually, I think it probably increases anxiety, but for each of us, that's different. For me, when I'm scrolling, I think it increases anxiety because I hear the voice, Holy Spirit saying, is this really the best use of your time, Gail? Is this benefiting you in any way? So I feel convicted, right, when I'm scrolling. However, if I've been productive during the day and I've used social media as a tool to grow my business, to grow my message, to amplify my message, and I'm at peace with it, well, then when I'm going to scroll for a little bit, I'll scroll for a little bit, and then I'll have a cutoff time where all right. I'm going to scroll between 5 and this, but before or after that, I'm not. So you're creating a boundary around it. You're not telling yourself that you're always shaming yourself for doing it. You're saying, this is my green zone and the rest are my red zones. I'm not gonna, like, ooh, not gonna do it. All right. So that's one big tip when it comes to social media. The other one, which I've already alluded to, is you can control your feed. So if there are people in there that there's content you don't want to see, you hit hide it. If there's an ad you don't want to see, there's a little X, click the X. The ad goes away. What you're doing is telling Facebook, I don't want to see this anymore. All right. This isn't the kind of stuff I want to be looking at. Let's pretend that you do want to see health products come across. All right. Then you would go into the Facebook search and you'd say products for digestion, products for anxiety. Well, guess what? Facebook's going to start to show you things about tools for anxiety, products for anxiety, coaching for anxiety, things like that. So, and then you can again X off when you're done, when it gets to be too much. So you are in control of your feed. The other thing is with your friends on social media. If you are only doing one-sided, you're just posting, you're not commenting and engaging on other people's stuff, then Facebook is going to reduce your reach. Why? Because you're not playing. You're just kind of saying, I'm putting this out there and hoping for the best, but I'm not being an active Facebook member. I'm just being a taker. I'm not being a giver. And so to be a giver on Facebook, that is going to increase, but you want to give selectively. So if you're going to go give wherever you're going to go, you're going to see more of that. All right. And so again, you're controlling your feed. So if I want to be connecting with Christian coaches because I feel inspiration from them, motivation from them, they're my peers, right? And so I'm going to like on their things, I will see more of it. Okay. I will go and engage on those things. And Facebook will be like, oh, these are the kind of people she wants to engage with. So it will show me more of that. All right. And you can do the same. So what I'm here to tell you is, for such a time as this, God knew exactly that you were going to be birthing a business, growing a business, accelerating a business in 2025, and He knew you were going to need social media to do it. Okay. So make peace with it. Know that it's a tool from God's hand. Know that it can be used for good and you're in control of that. All right. You can out of anything you don't want to see. You just X out of it, and Facebook will show you a lot less of that. So the second big thing is in a recap is we've got to shift away from value posting about our products because people already know your products are valuable. All right. What they want is connection with you in relation to the product that you have. They want to hear your story in such a tangible way that they identify with it, and it creates a high level of trust that not only do they possibly want to work with you, but they trust that they too can get the outcome that you got because they trust your story. So, moving them, helping them to see the pain and how you move to the promise, that desired outcome, crucial. So, all right, guys, blessings to you. My heart is that you would, as you find more peace with social media, you're going to find more joy in your business, which is going to means you're going to have more fruit on social media. You're going to want to show up consistently. You're going to want to show up for the women that you're serving, and you're going to be telling your story and loving the results that you're getting.